This is More to Say with Randy Naughton. Interesting conversations with interesting people. We welcome you in to another edition of More to Say with Randy Naughton. Yeah, I retired from TV, but I have more to say. That's why we're here having interesting conversations with interesting people. And of course, we have so many awesome editions and episodes for you to check out, from Joe Buck talking about his life in the sports booth and who he thinks is going to win the Super Bowl. The Buffalo Bills, by the way. Authors, entertainers, you name it. We run the gamut of interesting conversations with interesting people. And of course, we couldn't do it without our sponsors. We'd like to thank the folks at Team Jakey, who is now a 501c3, hoping to end the stigma of mental illness. This organization was born from a family who lost a loved one, Jake, to suicide. So they put on some amazing events, and they do their best to try to bring the awareness and, end the stigma of mental illness. And you know what? Talk about it. Come to their events that they have and their movie premieres. And, they've actually saved a lot of lives. So check it out, teamjakey.org. And of course, my podcast partner, who is Logan Janis, he is the one who helps us put it all together technically, because I'm a technical dunce, as I've mentioned. And he, of course, is also the host of the Mostly Superheroes podcast. Don't let the name fool you. It's not only about superheroes. He also has interesting conversations with all kinds of people about movies, premieres, TV shows, comics, you name it. He's all over it. Events happening in the St. Louis area. And he's literally the best St. Louis hype man you'll ever want to see. So check it out, mostlysuperheroes.com. Well, today we are talking about something I think that we all have done, either, after school, when we were homesick from school. What did we do? We watched game shows. And of course, Wheel of Fortune was one of them. And I don't know if you know this, but Wheel of Fortune Live is coming to St. Louis. It's happening, where's my darn notes? October 21st at the Factory in Chesterfield. And the host of Wheel of Fortune Live is with us today. We would like to welcome veteran TV personality, Mark L. Walberg. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course. I want to talk. Oh my gosh, I have so much to talk to you about. We were talking before we started recording about, football and things like that. But, you're in LA. You've been on so many things. Temptation Island on Netflix. We've seen you on the Mark Wahlberg show. We've seen you on Antiques Roadshow. We've seen you on a lot of things. And of course, now you're doing Wheel of Fortune Live, which to me sounds like a hoot and not a job at all. Am I right in that?
You're so right, and it's why I do it. Luckily, in my career, I'm busy and can kind of pick and choose the things that I get to do. And this is one of the things I can't seem to quit. I love it. I'm a game show guy. I love going on tour. I like the improvisational aspect of doing a live show every night. And so I'm excited to go on the road and bring Wheel of Fortune to the people. It's not a TV show. I think it's important to let people know this, because often get confused that they think they're coming to a taping of Wheel of Fortune with Ryan Seacrest. This is a celebration of Wheel of Fortune. It's a live version. We pull people right out of the audience to come up on stage. It doesn't air on TV. So if you show up, you could end up being a contestant if you want, and could win up to $10,000. So
that's crazy. I know people go crazy for this. They've had, what did they have? The Price is Right live. I think it was last year with Todd Newton, who's a St. Louisan.
I used to do that too. Todd Newton and I used to swap it off.
No kidding. Yeah. Well, he came back to St. Louis and we had a great conversation. It was a lot of fun. And people are crazy. I mean, I used to when I watch game shows, I'm like, you know what? Even though I was in front of a camera my whole career, live TV, I don't think I could be one of those people, when they say, come on down, or you are, come and spin the wheel. I don't think, because I think they look for the goofiest people. Is that right? The most effervescent you tell me.
Well, on TV they may. But what I love about our show is we don't do any contestant search. It is randomly selected. Basically, when people show up, you can opt out. In other words, I just want to watch the show. I don't want to be considered. But most people put their name in the hat, and we spit out those names with absolutely no warning and no prep, and we call them up on stage. And then if they play the game well, they end up in the main game. But I mean, I never know who's going to show up on stage. And I love that. So you don't have to be goofy and goony. You can just be yeah, I'm going to make it work for you. Whatever you do, I'm going to make it work.
That is the true definition of improv. Okay, when you were a kid at home on the couch, sick, away from school, after school, what was your go-to game show?
All of them. I tell the story all the time that when I would be in Miami visiting my grandmother, she put on this was in the 70s when game shows were on all day long.
Yes.
And I was a little kid and she'd be cleaning the house, but we'd have game shows just running on a loop. So I've watched them all. I think Pyramid with Dick Clark was
Yeah.
one of my favorites. Dick Clark was my mentor. I started working in the business under him. So I learned everything I know about hosting from him. Um, so I love that show. Price is Right, of course, is wonderful. But Wheel of Fortune has been sort of that, you know, through line through all of our lives. They call it America's Game. It's been there for, almost 40 years. So, it's really an institution.
I
And I'm
can't
happy to
even
represent.
imagine how many times I sat at home and I watched somebody struggle with what I thought was an easy phrase. And I'm going, it's chloroform, you dumbass. You're screaming at the TV. I mean, this is what people do, at home
Well,
watching the TV. But how do you control that with a live audience?
that's an interesting question because obviously you can't yell out from the audience or it'll
No.
ruin it for the people playing. But what invariably happens is that the audience solves the puzzle way before the people on stage do because it's just easier to think when the lights aren't on you.
Yes.
So the way I know, we constantly tell them, please don't yell out any answers, don't yell out any letters, let them solve it. It could cost them money. And the audiences usually go along with that. Great. But where I know that they've solved it before the contestants, let's say you're a contestant, you say, is there a B? And they've already solved the puzzle. So
Right.
before I can say, yeah, there are two B's, you hear the audience applaud that they picked a letter that's already in the
Oh, you can hear the
puzzle.
rumbles. Yeah, you can hear
Oh
the
no, they
rumbles.
applaud. They groan when it's obvious and nobody gets it. But I always make it fun, and nobody feels silly or stupid up there. We all realize that all of us have had the experience where there's a puzzle right in front of us. It's obvious, and we can't figure it out.
Right, right.
So we kind of get to enjoy that experience
The
together.
pressure does strange things to our brain. Okay, let's go back to game show hosts. You said you mentored under Dick Clark. Growing up, there
Yes.
were, gosh, so many. Bob Barker, Gene Rayburn, for heaven's sake,
Mm-hmm.
Wink Martindale.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who else?
Bob
Pat Sajak, of
Eubanks.
course. Bob Eubanks on the Newlywed Game. Was there one in particular besides Dick Clark that you kind of looked up to and possibly even emulated?
Yeah, the only one I would say I emulated was Dick Clark. The reason is he did more than game shows.
Right.
And I felt like he always handled what he was doing with class. But like when you would watch him on Pyramid or any other show, when he would say, what if you tried this? It was like he was playing the game with them without talking down on them. I always
Right.
felt like Dick was able to fill time, but instead of just filling time, he was adding content while he was filling time. So I've seen him do
Interesting.
it a million times where because I was his warm up guy for a lot of years. I was the guy in the audience entertaining the studio audience, and I would watch him work. Um, he would know how much time was left in a segment down to like the frame, and just he was just so aware. He was a producer who was also a host. So I learned all my tricks from him.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so we go back to us screaming the answers to, the TV or whatever in the live show and not screaming at the live show. What is the funniest gaffe that you've ever witnessed on stage that somebody accidentally or purposefully maybe said a swear word or something completely out of left field? Can you share that with
Oh,
us?
it happens all the time. I've had swear words and crazy, uncomfortable situations that we've made okay. My favorite ones are when we get, you know, smaller, older women on the show who can barely reach the wheel. So we have to kind of give them a booster. I almost lost one into the wheel one night. She's leaning over and literally almost toppled over. So, rarely have we had a Wheel of Fortune injury, but it's always a little on the edge. One of the things we're doing on this tour that I think is really, really fun, not only are we pulling contestants out of the audience to play the game, which is what we always do, but we're also pulling people out of the audience to compete to become our letter turner for the night, Vanna White's position.
No
So
kidding.
rather than bringing a model or a spokesperson or a co-host on the road with us, we select one new in every city that we go to. So that's really fun because we get all kinds of people, and when you see that the things that Vanna White does that are so, we think it's the easiest job in television. You see when somebody else does it, not so easy all the time. How to walk and how to stand and which letter to hit first and all that stuff.
What about her longevity? That's just a crazy
Amazing.
story in itself. Wow.
Well, when I was on the road with Price is Right live, we show a clip of all sorts of old Price is Rights. And one of the clips is a very young Vanna White when she first moved to California as a contestant
Oh, I've seen
on
that
Price
one.
is Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I have an affinity for her. We've never really met, but she's from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm from Florence, South Carolina, which is just about an hour away. And so I say that South Carolina is a hotbed for breeding game show hosts, and I don't know what's in the water there, but it's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
She's part of America. I don't
Yeah.
know how we'd watch the show without her.
Rise energy strips. And you're like, Rise. I've seen those. I've heard of those. RIIZE, and the chief medical officer with Rise Health Strips, with the energy strips. And this is Dr. Joe Molesky. And you're like, I know that guy. And he's going to tell us all about it.
Thanks for having me, Randy. Really, what Rise is, or riseup.com, we are a supplement company, but we're different because we provide a different method of delivery. And that method of delivery is a strip. So I'm sure you guys heard of like the Listerine strip or the
Yeah.
breast strips that we put other vitamins and nutrients inside there, like B12, energy. We make it reasonably priced compared to some of the pill versions, or just
Right.
figure out how much Starbucks coffee or an energy drink costs. I mean, those are $5-6 a piece. So we make it reasonable, we make it convenient, we make it for you.
It is
Yes.
RIIZE, riseup.com, if you want to get in on this latest craze in supplement delivery system. It's under the tongue. It dissolves in moments, works in minutes. So you want to maybe check that out to see which one might work for you for whatever you'd like to help or correct. Dr. Joe Molesky, I thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Rise up.
Hey there, it's Logan Janis from Mostly Superheroes, the podcast. Whenever you're done with this episode, be sure to go check out our show at mostlysuperheroes.com or by searching Mostly Superheroes Podcast on Google, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your shows, really. But mostlysuperheroes.com is where you want to be. Check out our event calendar, our past episodes like reviews of Superman, Fantastic Four, and be sure to listen to the recent episode of More to Say with Randy Naughton, where Randy interviewed me, Logan, on her show, and was even featured on the Big 550 AM KTRS. Randy came on our show a while back. You can still go check that out at mostlysuperheroes.com. From Logan, Arena Andy, Scotty Scoop, Sam the Sleeper, and the Mostly Superhero Squad. Thanks for tuning in to More to Say with Randy Naughton, and check out Mostly Superheroes when you're done. Enjoy the rest of this episode, and take it easy.
Hi, everyone. It's Randy Naughton from the More to Say podcast. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast over the tons of episodes we've done so far. Somebody I want to shout out specifically to is an organization called Team Jakey. They are one of the sponsors of the More to Say podcast, and I couldn't be more grateful to be partnering with them. What is Team Jakey? Well, this family, the Zeller family, knows all too well what it's like to lose somebody to suicide. So that happened to them. Their beloved Jake took his own life. And what they want to do, they've set out on a quest to end the stigma of mental illness. So Team Jakey puts together all these amazing community events year round to help raise the awareness and prevent suicide and end the stigma of mental illness. So we would love it if you followed them on Facebook, Team Jakey and the Stigma. And of course, thank you for supporting the More to Say podcast as well. Team Jakey is one of our partners, and we are so happy to have them on board. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the podcast. Now, when you're on stage for Wheel of Fortune Live and you pick your letter turner, do the letters turn, or is it a touch thingy like Vanna does?
We actually talk about that on the show, the genesis of that whole thing. It used to be actual letters that turn,
Right.
and then it was touch sensor. To be honest with you, on the TV show now, and for us, it'll just light up on its own. But because Vanna was so important in the show, they just kept her in the show. So we have our Vanna tap the letter as it's coming up. But if she blows it, it's still going to come up.
It's still gonna. How could you screw up a tap, right? That doesn't
You'd be
seem
surprised.
right.
You'd be
All
surprised.
right, let's talk about some of the prizes. You did mention $10,000. Please share what is on the laundry list of prizes we could win.
Well, let's start from the bottom up.
Okay.
So before we even get on stage doing the show, my sidekick, the guy who's really warming up the crowd and running the audience, Cody Dove, who's a former Second City improv comedian. He's terrific. He's playing games with people on the audience, and they're winning stuff like Wheel of Fortune umbrellas and blankets and T-shirts and all sorts of stuff that if you're a Wheel fan, you will love. These things, back on my Antiques Roadshow days, I would call these collectible and priceless items, right? I hosted that show for a bunch of years.
Yes.
So, but when you come on stage, even if you don't do well at all, you're going to walk away with a couple $100. But when you get to the bonus round, if you're that contestant, you can play for up to $10,000. There's a trip to Paris, France. There's a trip to Hawaii, electronics package, TV, stuff like that. And then one of the things I love the most about the show is that if someone solves the bonus round puzzle and wins whatever's in the envelope, whatever's in that envelope, we're going to match with somebody else in the audience for just sitting there and doing nothing.
Oh, that's pretty darn awesome.
Yeah. So obviously our dollar amounts are not as big as the TV show, but we were in Las Vegas doing the show, and a woman solved that puzzle and won $2,500 cash. And then we called the name out of the audience. They got $2,500 just for showing up. So,
that's awesome.
That's one of my favorite things of the night.
And we're just recapping now for those who are listening. We're speaking with Mark Walberg. He is the host of Wheel of Fortune Live, which is coming to St. Louis at the Factory in Chesterfield, which, by the way, is a fantastic venue, relatively new. It's great. It's happening on October 21st, which is a Tuesday. The show starts at 6:30. So you know what? Have someone else cook dinner and come on down. I didn't mean to say come on down. That's a different show. But,
but there's something else is a reason to come on down, is that in the lobby before we open the doors to come into the actual theater, there's a QR code you'll see that allows people to record on their phone a quick audition to be on the television show, which has priority over any other audition. So when the contestant producers who are looking for contestants for the main show, they get fed people from our tour that are coming to see our live show first. So
so what are they looking for? Not taken away from the live thing, but so what are the TV producers looking for in contestants? So whoever might be listening, like just effervescent, happy personalities.
Same as any game show.
Yeah.
There's a science to it. You want effervescent, happy energy, somebody we want to watch, but they also need to be great at playing the game, because that's important on TV. You only have that half hour. And so you want those three contestants to be competitive and play the game. On our show, I don't need you to know a thing. In fact, I always laugh that you'll have this story comes up all the time where someone who's a huge Wheel fan will force their husband or wife to come with them to this show. And then the husband or wife gets called up on stage and they're like, I don't even know how to play. So it doesn't matter. Even if you're an avid Wheel watcher or you've never really seen the show, which I find hard to believe.
Yeah.
But even if you're not good at it, we make it work for you.
I love it. And, people are getting back to games for mental health, cognitive health on their phone, crossword, Sudoku. What is that? The 5-letter one. The Wordle. Yeah, people love their.
I was waiting to talk to you.
Really? People
I do it every morning. I'm a group chat with my father and my son, and we do the Wordle every morning together.
That is awesome. I love it. All right, you're coming to St. Louis. I know it's part of your tour. And how many cities are you visiting on this tour, by the way?
Well, the tour left like yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And there's another host, Jay Flats, who's doing some dates that I can't do. I just got back from Hawaii on Tuesday from taping Temptation Island for Netflix. So I've been busy with TV.
I noticed the bit of a glow, Mark. You look delightful. Yes.
It's a cost of doing business, and
Yes, I know.
I have to do it. So the tour just left, and we'll go all the way through probably into December. I'm going to be doing from October 2nd to like the 21st of October, back again November 5th ish to Thanksgiving. So I'm doing a bunch of dates, but we share the time.
Oh,
And
nice.
in the meantime, I come back here. I have my podcast, Bonfire Talks, at Bonfire Talks Podcast. Just a quick plug. And then I have a movie coming out November 5th that I'm in, called Lost and Found in Cleveland. That's really an adorable Christmas kind of antiques
Does it
roadshow
have
vibe.
anything to do with the Kelseys by chance? Oh,
Not
they're
at
from
all.
Cincinnati. My bad.
No, but I'm a big fan of them.
I know.
Yeah, this is a beautiful movie about people who come to a televised appraisal event for antiques, similar to the one I used to host, and their story. So it's Martin Sheen and June Squibb and Stacy Keach and John Lovitz, Jeff Fuller,
Wow.
who just won an Emmy. Who else is in it? Me, a bunch
Yeah,
of
I
people.
was
So
going
it's
to say
really,
you.
yeah, I'm in it. I've got a small part. So that's coming out November 5th. So I'm busy doing press for that, and Wheel of Fortune and Temptation Island all at the same
Good
time.
for you.
So,
That's awesome. It's my philosophy too. Even though I retired from TV in July of 2022, I'm a busy person. I like to keep busy. I like to keep my hands in lots of cookie jars. It's better to be busy than bored. That's my
you bet.
philosophy. Yeah.
But the tour for me is a little bit of guilty pleasure. So yes, it's a job, and it's a little bit grueling, because we normally will do the show, then they tear the show down, put it in a truck, and we drive overnight. I sleep in a bus with the 11 crew people, and
Like
then
a
the
rock
next
star,
morning,
man.
well, I always say it's like a rock star tour that everybody goes to bed at 10, so it works out perfectly. But I just can't seem to quit it. The live show aspect, the improv, meeting audience members, and I don't want to get too deep on it, but the way the world is these days, 90 minutes of having people from all walks of life in one room with a focus on having fun and actually finding a common thing we can agree on is worth it to me. I love being a part of that.
Amen to that sentiment. I love it. Now, I do, before we wrap up, I do want to ask you, because you've traveled a lot everywhere.
Yes.
What is your experience with St. Louis? Have you visited before? Where have you
You bet.
gone? Any
You
great
bet.
places to eat, things to see, things that
I can't-
surprised you?
I can't say that. I will tell you a quick story. My daughter was a professional ballerina for many years,
Uh-huh.
and she was finishing up a contract in Ohio and starting a new one in Kansas City. So we were driving her from one place to the other, and we pulled into St. Louis. I have two funny St. Louis stories.
Okay.
Pulled into St. Louis like around 5 o'clock, and the Cardinals were playing. No, yeah. So the stadium was full,
Right.
and we're driving, and it was time for dinner, and I looked at my wife, I looked at my daughter, I'm like, we're doing this. Pulled off the highway, pulled right up, walked in, because it was already like the seventh inning. Nobody asked us for a ticket or anything. Got some hot dog, got some beer, sat down, had dinner, watched the last 3 innings of the game.
No kidding. That's
The best.
great.
The other St. Louis story is that this is a chance for me to brag about both my kids. My son is now a retired Navy pilot. But when he was in flight school and flying the little prop plane that they teach them in, we were at a family wedding in St. Louis, and he called from flight school and says, I have to do a cross-country trip. I can pick where I'm going. I'm going to come to St. Louis. Can you pick me up? I said, sure. So the rehearsal dinner, I left early, went to a private field in St. Louis. My son lands in this Navy plane, gets out with his flight suit looking like Top Gun, and we took him in the flight suit to the rehearsal dinner.
Oh, that's cool.
And surprised everybody. And meanwhile, when he flew back, he may have broken some rules and flew very close to the arch. So I have some pretty
just to
great
get a
pictures
photo.
of that. Now that he's retired, I can tell you that.
We hear nothing. We see nothing. And it's never a bad thing to brag about your children. I don't care how old you are. That's what I tell my daughter, who's a grown woman now. And it's like, you are never too old to hug your mother. Come and give me a kiss. That's it. I don't care what anybody says.
I say that to my son. This big 6'1" tattooed veteran. But
always,
I'm like,
always,
give
always.
your daddy a kiss.
All right, we are pretty much out of time, and I thank you so much. That's Mark Walberg. He's going to be in St. Louis, October 21st, on stage at the Factory for the Wheel of Fortune Live. All you need to do to get your tickets, if you want to get chosen, it's random choosing of contestants. So show up. You might end up on stage. You might win a bunch of money. You might have a great time. You might even be the Vanna White for the night. So it's awesome. If you're looking for tickets, go to the Factory's website. It's thefactorystlouis.com, I believe, if my memory serves. So I really appreciate your time this morning, and we will welcome you with open arms back to St. Louis for the
Looking
Wheel
forward
of
to
Fortune
it.
Live. All right. Take care, Mark.
Thank
you. All
Bye
right.
now.
And of course, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors. Team Jakey, teamjakey.org is hoping to end the stigma of mental illness and prevent suicide. And of course, Logan Janis, my podcast partner and the host of his own podcast called The Mostly Superheroes. So we thank you so much for joining us this time on More to Say with Randy Naughton. Follow me all over social media. I'm everywhere ad nauseum. I guess that's a good thing. So thanks for joining us. Until next time.
This has been More to Say with Randy Naughton. Interesting conversations with interesting people. Be sure to like or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.